What's up, man? Oh, wow.
Hey, how's it
You-
going?
You're in the field.
Yeah, I was reading, I was continuing my project. Now I'm reading another book.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I was just continuing. I figured I'd just kind of just do it here.
That's super cool, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Nah, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of, get to know what I was doing, I guess, the
Yeah,
entire month.
you know what I want? I know we got a little bit that in the can the other day. You mind if I recorded this, by the way?
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Okay.
Totally fine, man.
So we got a little bit about your background and what you were up to, but I would love to get the story again, just to make sure we have it.
Yeah, sure.
Like what is it that has you coming out to the forest to do all this reading and videotaping it?
So there was a moment in my life where certain things that recently happened and it really it got me down in the dumps, like I was emotionally a wreck and that stuff. And already had anxiety and that stuff, and my guru had made a video 2 or 3 years ago where it was really dedicated to me in a way where he did a outside so he lived he's ashram is in Somerset, and they have a background backyard forest there. And basically, he did a walking meditation and released that video. And recently, I started doing therapy and then medication and other things. And I finally felt like it's time for a change in my life. And I just started, I started first with just doing breathing exercises, pranayama, in the forest here, because it's right. I live right down Johnson. You know where Johnson Park is, right? You know
Of
those
course. No,
those houses there.
I grew up in Highland Park,
Oh,
so
okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
I
So
am very
the
familiar
floaty
with that.
houses and stuff. Yeah, so I live right there, and so I was just like, I grew up in East Brunswick, born and raised in New Brunswick, but I grew up in East Brunswick, and then
Okay.
moved to Highland Park in 2012, 2013, and have been living here since then. And
Nice.
yes, I just I started going to the forest every day, doing various breathing, meditation, chanting, and that. And then I was like, now I want to do something different. And I've been wanting to read my guru's book. And, I wanted to do something different where I could, create like a audio video book with the nature, like the beautiful scenery and, nature sounds. And just yesterday, someone commented on my video where they just said that they love this audio video book because the thing is that they have trouble concentrating, and the nature sounds and the wind and even the rain sometimes that I'm doing it, it's like really like they just really appreciate it. So, I'm like, what? I just want to, to whoever might resonate with certain of teachings here, just wanted to share that with the world. And yeah, and then I saw you guys. I didn't even know you guys were there. And then I realized like I didn't even know about any of this, haunted or any of this documentary or whatever was going on. I had no idea about this. I was just casually reading and that. But when that happened, it inspired me. So I told someone on Discord, right? And they told me, yo, you got to go to Clinton Road. And then I'm like, okay, sure. And then I went to Clinton Road. But this was all inspired because of your podcast, No Man's Land, because, one thing led to another, which led to another. And
Yeah.
so, I just like, I just needed to, I felt like I wanted to do something, for it.
I had a documentary. I teach documentary at Rutgers. So a lot of
Okay.
the kids out there were, former students of mine that I kind of rope into working on the project. And I had one make a film about taking a late night drive on Clinton Road. It was cool. It wasn't, he was a little disappointed that nothing happened and that
Yeah.
he didn't get, but that's usually what happens in haunted locations. So did you get a chance to listen to the podcast or talk
Yeah, a
about it
few
with
of it. Yeah,
anyone?
yeah, yeah. A little bit of it. Yeah, yeah.
So I want to give you, it's just sort of an odd experience to run into you out there because we were out there shooting, doing this kind of elaborate
Yeah.
thing that we had planned, and I kept hearing voice behind me.
I'm sorry. Again, I'm
No, no,
I'm
no,
really
it was
sorry
so
about
much
that.
better.
One thing
And-
that I like to say is
yeah,
that like so with my guru's blessing, right? He had blessed my book and that stuff, and whenever I get his blessing, like something magical always happens. Like, it just I don't know. There's something he denies this because he doesn't believe in it, right? But for me, I believe it because it's happened every time. you know. And this whole thing, meeting you guys, I just feel like it was like a blessing in
Well,
disguise, you know.
yeah, for sure. Not even in disguise, a straight up blessing. Like
There you go.
so.
Yeah.
Before I want to give you the whole background of the
Sure. Yeah.
project so that you understand. And what's fascinating to me is like we're messing around and investigating and playing in the area of supernatural
Yeah.
experiences that generally have a negative bent, like supernatural evil, right?
Yeah.
And you're, it seems to me, playing in the world of supernatural good or the inherent magic that's, existent in this world that we can tap into,
Yeah.
by, your teachings and by just the experiential way you're living right now. Um, I wonder, before I get into the background though, I was just curious, like tell me who your guru is and how you chose to follow in his ways and his teachings.
Okay, so this is interesting. So in 2019, right? I was like, I want to study Buddhism, and I came over, like, I started watching random YouTube videos on Buddhism, and at that time I was like 31, and then so this video just popped up called Advaita versus Buddhism. So Advaita is non-duality. You might have heard of like the famous non-dual people like Eckhart Tolle and Alan Watts and other people,
Sure.
but this is more traditional. So one day it just showed up on my YouTube feed, and I'm like, who is this random white dude, a monk that's a white dude, you know? I'm like, who's this dude? And so I started watching his thing, and I'm like, I found this really interesting. And I was like, I wonder where this person is located. Like, I'm just like, I wonder where this, what this is. And I looked, and it was literally 15 minutes away from my place.
Wow.
And my entire life, I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I have never heard of this place ever. So the thing is that he was reluctant to even make that video because he didn't want to compare Buddhism with Advaita, because he's not trying to like criticize or other trains of thought. So he was reluctant to, but he kept getting a bunch of emails. People kept on asking, begging him to make a contrast video, and so he finally did that. This was during COVID and that time. And then that too, the YouTube algorithm, then, since I was watching Buddhism, that his stuff just popped up. And then, I just started attending his lecture, and then slow by slow, as I got immersed in the teachings of my guru, Swami Tadatmanandaji. So he was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His
Uh-huh.
name was Mark Berrien, and he was an engineer in the 1980s, making six figures way back in the 1980s. So that's like tons of money,
Oh, for
now.
sure.
But he felt like something was missing in his life. He grew up Catholic, Roman Catholic, and he felt like something was missing, and like he liked so he was Roman Catholic, but the thing is that when he asked a question like, "Will his Jewish friend go to heaven?" the nuns had scolded him. You can't ask questions like that. And that turned him off into religion itself. And then like years later, when he felt like something was missing, he started getting into spirituality again. And then one day he met his then to be guru, where he said God is not a matter of belief; it's not a matter of belief, but it's a reality to a matter of understanding. And that really just like the rest was history, and he just became an Advaitin. And yeah, and so he's been teaching these teachings of the ancient rishis of so for us, it's not that there is one God, there is only God. So God, everything is God basically. And
Sure.
it's non-separate from creation itself and that stuff. So yeah, and these teachings are meant to address the problem of our deaths. We're all going to die, right? So it basically it addresses the fact that you are okay no matter what happens and the outside. You as consciousness are eternal, limitless, full, Satchitananda. And so no matter what happens, when we all die, we truly don't die. It's just this ignorance that we think we're gonna die is what it's all about. And yeah, so that's where I'm at right now in
And
this
what was
journey.
it? And no, that I love that. I love that. And I wonder, what about it resonate like what beyond just sort of like anxiety and malaise or whatever allowed that to kind of click into place for you? Like, what was it that really resonated the most, that it unlocked something so that you kind of, right now you're giving off so much positive energy and juice just to be in your presence that like it feels like something has been unlocked. And so
Yeah.
what was it you think?
I I personally think it likely is past life karmas in my sense that because there was no coincidence that I was born into like a family. So I was born and raised here, but my parents are from India and they're very traditional in that sense, right? So they, from an early age, they raised me to kind of be spiritual in that. But then life kind of gets to you, so you get so involved into worldly affairs and you keep thinking that good food or parties and all that stuff is going to bring happiness and that stuff, but then you kind of get after a certain you start to realize that I'm not happy. I'm still not happy. I'm not content, and you kind of seek like a bigger meaning to life itself. Like, what is a like, each time I think I'm gonna get like if it's a food that I enjoy, like when I'm really hungry, there's like a satiety that happens for a few minutes, but it never nothing seems to bring this perfect contentment. And I guess my look for a everlasting contentment was the real key into this and that and things that just fell into place.
I love it, man. It's really great.